Hey, Gloucester Township. I'm Joe Allen. This is Keith Gibbons.
How's it going?
This is our election recap show.
Yeah.
If you guys caught our
If you haven't hit late one Friday night, you may have seen a train wreck. And this
what the turn
hazmat teams came out, cleaned everything all up, and it just disappeared. So
what was going to be a 40-minute show turned into 3 hours. But thanks, Sam, for letting us on your podcast.
yeah. We were on Sam's podcast that evening.
Sam's podcast. Although it looked like this podcast, but we weren't really here. We figured that 3-hour snooze fest probably didn't do nobody made it past the first
3 hours,
13 hours of that 17-hour long podcast.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd just do another brief rundown.
Yeah. It's basically just supposed to go over some of the election results, which actually is kind of better that we did hold off because some things changed since then. Even though we know who the president of the United States is, the night of the election, we don't know who is up, who makes school board in Gloucester Township somehow, So they were a little bit tighter races. What's that?
They're still counting the senator in Pennsylvania.
Are they really?
Yeah.
So some of these, races weren't. If we kept the results that we knew the night of the election, we wouldn't have had the exact same results. So that being said, I believe they're now final in Gloucester or in Camden County, right? The last ones had come out.
I think this one said official, yeah.
Yesterday, or what? I don't know, a couple days ago. So anyway, we just wanted to give a quick rundown of what happened.
Yeah, I guess starting out top of our local ticket here. So above those, figured out who won the president, and for Senate was Andy Kim. That was that pretty much doubled.
Yeah, so I have one of the ballots here. Where the heck is that?
Yeah, Kim 156 to 79,000. So
should we put the laptop up here? Let's see. We got the. Yeah. If I hit this button, there we go.
There you go.
All right. So yeah, Andy Kim at would you say it was
156,000 to 79,000 for Senate.
So 240,000 people in Camden County voted for that.
Yep.
All right. After that, had
Norcross would be the for Congressional District 1, which is
House of Representatives. Yep.
He almost came close to doubling Teddy.
Yeah, so Teddy Liddell, Theodore Liddell, 85,000 to Donald Norcross is 145.
Makes you wonder when we talk about the reach of Norcross and how well he kind of controls politics, especially in the whole area, but they always call him like the puppet master, So people.
Well, this is Donald though, not his brother. As I think you're talking.
Yeah, well, the whole family,
George,
the whole family in general, like that issue that we have down here of that control for the last 2 decades.
Right.
It makes you wonder. I know there's a lot of people in GT that now kind of realize that's the case, but I guess not the rest of Camden County. So.
Yeah.
Coming soon, the Camden County Observer podcast.
So we did have some other. We have sheriff and clerk. I don't know that these are. I guess they are. It says Republican or Democrat.
Clerk.
Both of those.
Yeah, clerk was a new one too because Ripa did not seek re-election.
Yeah, so that's right.
He'd been clerk for a really long time. The Democrat.
That is Kelly Ripa from the TV. That's her father, right?
That's the
or grandfather,
father or uncle, or I forget.
Related
it is the family though. Part of the.
So the new one is who? Who won this?
Lampett, Pamela Lampett.
Pamela Lampett won.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. All right,
and then commissioners. The Democrats blew away the Republican commissioners. Republicans did an awful job at marketing these candidates. I had actually before our show that night that our pre-election show. They got a ton of votes. Thank you all for checking that one out.
Yeah.
I reached out to the chairman, the Camden County chairman for Republican Party,
information about who was running.
I'm looking for information for a podcast we're doing tonight to talk about all the candidates on there. I can't seem to find a whole lot. Can you help me out? And that was at noon on that Friday that we did the show. She responded on Monday saying, "Yeah, did you want to talk to them?" I'm like, "No, that's over. It's done with."
Right.
We were days from the election.
We weren't looking to promote them in any fashion. So at that point in time, like you said, it's done.
Yeah, remember the point too.
It was just a informational type of a thing. But just to try to even get the information, you can't even find information if you wanted to, whether it was at the 11th hour, like when you were asking, or 2 months ago when ballots, had come out, or mail-in ballots had come out. So if the information wasn't available a few minutes before the election, it sure as hell wasn't available 2 months before.
Yeah, well, that was the thing too. If you remember when I did this, I said that I didn't research any candidates.
Right.
Up until the day before we did the podcast.
Right.
And I was doing it while I was working too, because it was Halloween was like the day before.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And my thought was, what can I find in 4 hours? So that way, when we lean on the voters around here and say that when they call them uneducated voters, well, how hard is it to get educated?
Right.
Because the excuse is always, I don't have time for politics. And it's like, all right, you can take 4 hours out of your year to just look these candidates up. What can you find in 4 hours? And that was the point. I couldn't find anything on these candidates in 4 hours. Now, we had Ray Henry here that night, who is a committeeman who knew some information on him. He sat down and shared it with us. But
my opinion is I still think 4 hours is a lot to ask of anybody to find something out.
Yeah.
You can't, people's attention span these days is like 3 minutes. I know you're not going to find out anything about any candidates in 3 minutes. Yeah. So I understand the 4 hour, kind of thing. But if you're saying this here is going to dictate the next, couple of years of your life, it's worth you spending the time to figure out what the, what the details are.
Maybe,
I understand that.
Maybe in 25 we do an election show in 25 in like September, where we.
Right. I mean, after we know, it's just like the Patch will come out with an article like, hey, this is who applied or who's on the ballot for the primaries. Is that what it is? Yeah. So for the primaries, and then we start talking to people then and putting it out earlier. I'll tell you what, the one thing. So we also had local council elections and things like that. But one of the things later on I'll talk about, I learned a lot about, and I guess I'll save it for that section of time. What I was going to say about timing. Not being the 11th hour. Hey, I got signs to put out on Monday for the election, But
oh yeah.
All right, so let's go, Joe. What do we have after? What do we do? We said House of Representatives. We had the county clerk. So commissioners. This is where you left off, I believe, right? Let me see if I go to laptop. Yeah. So now we're back at members of council for unexpired term. This was I think they call it a special election, right? Because it was an unexpired term of Dan Hutchison, who won an election for, what is he now? Assemblyman?
Assemblyman, yep.
Yeah, so he's an assemblyman. So Helen Albright Troxel was running against Timothy Pfeffer. Jay Pfeffer.
Yeah, we had Tim Pfeffer on our pre-election show.
Yeah, he showed up here.
Did send invites out to both of them. They didn't figure it was a good idea to send for Helen to come, I guess. Yeah. So they didn't send it over, her over. But
all right. So what were the results on this one? So locally here, 5,000 vote roughly difference of total. There was basically 3,000. See where it says undervotes right there? That we believe. I don't know. This is what we understand that means, is that people didn't vote for this position, or say they voted for that but didn't fill it out correctly or something along those lines. Those votes didn't count. There were ballots that were turned in that just didn't vote for that position or that thing there. So 3,000 people didn't know enough about it. So even if they were to say 3,000 votes went to Tim, that he did educate 3,000 more people, he still lost to Helen by a good 2,000, votes.
Which is yeah. I mean, look, vote by mail.
Yeah,
vote by mail. It's there's such a big gap there. It's so hard to make that up. Early voting, Tim beat her. And on election day, he was really close on election day. It was only, like 200 off on election day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the vote by mail just kills it.
Well, that's the story. And I'm not some kind of political analyst here or anything, but that's the story that I hear all the time is, the machine comes out about 4,000 votes out the gate. You're starting. What is that?
People, I put my ringer off, turn my ringer off, and they're still calling me.
Oh, there's you're starting about 4,000 votes behind, right out the gate. So,
yeah, well, that's how it was last year, and during our election, we were grabbing tapes at the end of the election, and we're like, man, we're killing it because we won election day.
Yeah,
we're just killing it, and then we got to the ceremony afterwards, and it was all happy, and it turned into a funeral by the end of the night because we got there, and they go, well, you're several thousand down.
Right.
Just from mail-in.
Yeah, the first drop came in, which was the mail-ins, and you're down by a few thousand votes. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it's a couple thousand. Even a smaller election like that, I think we were down like 2,400 votes, I think it was, to start it off.
Yeah.
So it was like happy going the way there, and then you got there, and you're like, oh, wow, we really got to make up a lot. And then we just never did. So.
Yeah, so anyway, so that was the council vote, and then after that, what was the next thing down on the screen here?
On the screen, after that, it was sewer, right?
Oh no, I thought it went to school board next. I don't know where that came up here. All right, let's do a search here while you're doing that. I'll put this back on. But yeah, we had basically the regional school board, which is the high school. There were only 3 candidates, and there were 3 seats up for election. So there was all incumbents. There was no challengers to them, so they basically all won. If we go into, Shannon Mosley, who I know, she goes the top vote getter with 21,275, and then there was Jennifer Storer and Jerry J. McMullen, all winning re-election on that because there were no challengers. The undervotes on this one, look at that. There's 40,000 people did not vote for school board. They just don't know anything about it, or just said, I'm not giving them my vote.
Or 40,000 unchecked.
Right.
So it's not, I guess it's not 40,000 people. There was 40,000 like marks that didn't have. So somebody could have gone and just voted for one person, or
that's true.
That would have counted as an undervote, 2 undervotes.
Okay.
Because it said choose 3. So yeah, that's a weird thing about regional. I don't like nobody ever runs regional.
No, I don't know.
So I don't know. I mean, I think that's a good 2025 thing if you folks.
Well, if your kids are now out of middle school or getting close to being out of middle school, maybe you want to think about doing that. Maybe I would start thinking about it, but it might. All right, let's go on to the next.
Yeah, so the next one would be
our local, the K through 8, or preschool, I should say, really, through 8 was the Gloucester Township Board of Education, and we had the top 3 here. So Kia Gore was an incumbent running for re-election. Top vote getter there with 13,243. Again, look at her early voting. Her early voting and vote by mail. Her vote by mail was at the highest.
Wow, yeah.
Also 4,800. So again, there's that 4,800.
Look at the
dedicated people who know to vote in early.
The 3 people that are all on the same ticket. That would be Cora Hutchison and DeStefano were all on the same ticket. They all got we're not really close numbers by vote by mail, but they all beat.
Yeah, they started with 4,000 votes basically.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So, it is. Well, that's what they they say that group of people, council, school board, that are all kind of grouped under they come on the same flyers for everybody, but there's always a certain amount of people that just vote every election. On the bigger elections, it's closer to this amount. On the smaller elections, it's like 2,000. But that's kind of the case. It's always the case, is that group always gets those votes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a supporter of the mayor, or if that's just that. Well, it's got to be, because they're nonpartisan, sort of.
I'm going to. So anything that I say is my own opinion, not the view of anyone else on the Gloucester Township Board of Education. Joe, you should probably just play yours too while we're doing it. Look at that. Joe has. Whoa, it's really fast.
Oh, because you didn't.
You got to pause it, folks. Sometimes Joe's opinions are frowned upon by others.
They are. They're. I didn't want to group anybody else in with my opinions either. So.
Yeah. But no, so my opinion going back on these things here is I think you're right. I feel like, it's my opinion, that people know how to vote, whether they're told or how that happens. It's understood.
I never really thought about this. This really kind of shows it. Like, this shows that core group of support that they have.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4,000.
Yeah.
It's 4,000 for that core group. Because this is nonpartisan, but people seem to know, at least by vote by mail, they seem to know who those candidates were, unless it was just unless they don't know anything about them, but they were filling the ballot out. And it's a science here to get that mailer to show up when the mail-in ballot does. So that when you open the ballot up, you go,
where's that big glossy flyer? Where did that come? Let me see. All right, I got to fill out this one. It's like playing a game. It's like scratch-offs.
I would say the best thing to do is to open that mail-in ballot up, pull that over here, and go.
All right, so not that.
That cost a lot of money for an unpaid position. Something's up here. Not voting for those people. I'm gonna vote for anybody that's not on that ballot. That's just
That election, this election here, we had Dina Hendry come in second place. We mentioned Kia Gore. We had Dina Hendry come in second place, and she
killed it on
election day votes there were killer. 6,158 votes. Top vote getter election day. And I know she was out there. Her husband was out there. Other people were out there. Her friends, out hustling, getting people to, know, hey, flip the ballot over. On the back, you have the school board.
That was another thing, too. People were coming out, and they would say they would walk out and they'd say, I went to vote for you, and I didn't even see you on there. Yeah. So that was something that wasn't being told right off the start, but then eventually they started, the people caught on and they started saying that. So,
and then the third seat went to Nicholas Hutchison, who is Dan Hutchison's son.
That wasn't an election day. That
flipped
recently,
because.
Right?
Prior to the last one coming out, Angelo DeStefano, I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to mispronounce that. They were flipped. Like it looked like he was going to be the one that's getting the seat, and they were only apart by a few votes, like 10 or 15 or something like that votes. It was very, very close. And I know I had heard, from people around town about. He didn't even want to do it. He was kind of just told, he should put his name on there. It was a favor type of a scenario. And then, election day came out. I was like, oh, I guess he doesn't have to do what he didn't want to do anyway, from what I was hearing from people. And now it was Dan's son, Nicholas.
Man.
So congratulations to all those that won their seats on the school board.
Imagine being the guy that's doing a favor over like the parents that we met here that night when we did the pre-election show. Like, the good people that wanted to
right, yeah.
They just wanted to be a part of the system because their children were in the system.
Yeah.
Imagine being the guy that just takes their spot because you're like, all right, I'm doing a favor for somebody.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of favor are you doing?
Again, folks, if you don't believe that there is a machine that goes on with politics around here, it's a real thing. Go on to. Here's a challenge for you at home, and you probably haven't even heard of this if you're kind of new to, whatever this politics that we are doing around here. Google Camden County phantom candidates. And I think it was the Philadelphia Inquirer that did an article about it. And read that article. There's some interesting names that you'll probably remember. I think I don't want to say because I might be wrong, but
our public works guy was
that's what I was thinking. I didn't want to say it. I think Kevin Butcheroni's name was he was in there as one that was going out and getting people's names to put onto the to the ballots. You can go on Twitter. There's actually a Twitter account that's called Camden County Phantom Candidates.
Yeah.
And that I'm not sure who runs that, but every now and then that pops up, and it's like, hey, look, here you go. Here's what
more good info.
But this happens often, and that's especially on the lower school board. Their budget, I believe, is much more than the high school, but I don't know that that's true. But for whatever reason, there's always a lot of candidates on there. I mean, I feel like in that article, there was like 13 candidates running for a non-paid position that were all people that you're like, I don't know who this person even is, but they're just names that were put on a ballot. So
I think the machine kind of caught on to that. They've
they've been called out on it, I think, more than once. And
I think, at least going in for me, Torero and Tercy had never heard those names before, so that was one of those things where it was like, all right, we're gonna reach out to them, get them on here. They were eager to come on. Like we didn't reach out, we just posted.
Yeah, that's what happened. We posted it out there,
and they reached out and said, hey, how do we get on there? So
and just to go back, that was how everyone was invited to this. This was just to clear everything up here, Joe. You have to. Well, you don't have to. You can say whatever you want because it's your own. But I had nothing. You put this out like a day before, or that day, or whatever it was that week. You're like, hey, I'd like to have all the candidates on. Nobody's done anything. There was no, because some years there'll be like a meet the candidates put together for like a fire hall. No one did anything for that this year, and so there was nothing that happened. You knew the election was coming up, and you're like, hey, we should do an election show. And we're like, all right, we'll just post it online. Whoever sees it, sees it. Nobody was invited. I know there's hard feelings that are out there, but there's no hard feelings to be had. We kept as fair as it was. It was, if you're on social media, if you're going to win the election, you have to know that many people around town anyway. So somebody, I'm sure, will see it and send it to you and say, hey, are you going to go on this show? You know what I mean? Like there wasn't any kind of ill intent of keeping anyone out. Or
I thought the best thing to do would be just to throw it out there, and the people that are engaged in the community talk, you're
running for election. You should know that there's something going on.
Yeah,
you
should. The only invite that we sent, I think, was to Troxel. Like we sent an email to Troxel.
Yeah, because
because we've never seen her online, but we've seen. I've seen all of the school board candidates except for the machine ones. I haven't seen those online, but I've seen the rest of them.
Well, we know that.
But they don't.
Mr. Mercado spends half of his day, getting pictures sent to him from social media, right? Because he says he doesn't go on there. People send him stuff all day long, so I'm sure somebody sent it to him to be able to pass along to say, "Hey, these guys are doing this again now." And I'm sure that also our biggest fans, who are people who hate us, will also tell them, "Hey, they're doing this over there."
Yeah, and there was a candidate on there who. Look, I've had their signs and have supported them, and they didn't make it on the podcast, and I guess they took offense to it that we didn't.
Yeah, but again, we didn't
schedule, or I don't know what we were supposed to do at that point, but it wasn't. So there was nothing was
intentional or malicious.
It was
a
Friday night.
The intent was to do something good, and if you couldn't make it the night we was making it, if someone had reached out to us and said, hey, I can make it Sunday morning at 6 a.m., I guarantee you that Joe would have done an interview with you.
Yeah, after sitting here with Chip and gotten some of the questions that he asked the candidates, I could have asked the candidates some questions, or I could have just gave them the questions ahead of time and said, come on over, and you can pre-script your answers. Whatever, as long as you show up and tell people who you are. Yeah. And most people knew who the candidates, some of these other candidates were. There was some people some other people outside, not that candidate, but there was other people like that candidate that got really upset with us and said we're no better than the machine.
Yeah.
I guess we're running our own losing machine over here. That I don't know. I'm just trying to be honest. But yeah, not a shocker that some of the followers that don't like anything else that we do didn't like that thing, one thing that we did. So
true. Yeah,
that
there's
was-
people exactly. Yeah, there's people who don't like anything at all that we do, and they're like, we don't like that. We're like, not a surprise.
I'm so sorry that this one thing that I did also went along with the rest of the things that we've done that you don't like.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Right.
Maybe become a better person, I guess.
The one thing I know I spent a lot of time leading up to this, and that I was focused on this time, was the sewer, which I know that was a very hot topic in Gloucester Township, and you can see by the results there too. You have those. Well,
I like that they're sideways.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah, we'll go out.
Oh man, we're going to find them here. You can watch along, watch Joe fumble.
I'm searching.
He's like, wait a minute.
Hold on. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, this is on the Camden County's what do you call it? Election website. There's a election results tab that you can go to. All right, here we go. We're getting there. That's unexpired term. Well, I'll let him fumble with that there. There is
There's nothing like failing right on camera here.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe type sewer or wastewater or
It's
no
not-
referendum
Yeah,
question.
yeah, maybe it's question.
You type question in, maybe that will come up easier. And he's got to search the document. Now, if this document was put out by Gloucester Township,
There we go. Brooklawn municipal question.
all right, here we go. Yeah, if this was put out, if this PDF was put out by Gloucester Township, you would not be able to search it.
And that's not it. I didn't find it.
No?
Nope.
Oh. It has to come up there. Referendum? What other words could you search? Members. We might have to edit this out here.
There it is.
Oh, we got it.
Yes. I had to search for yes. I knew that was one of the options.
Aha.
There, so.
There you go. All right. So Gloucester Township proposal, vote for one. And this was, do we want to sell our wastewater system to New Jersey American Water for a sum of $143 million? And the results are in. 6,700 people didn't vote for it, though. I was kind of shocked by that. 22,690 no's to 5,171 yeses. And this one is the interesting one here, too. If you look at the vote by mail number, 2,200, so 2,300 people out of that 4,000 that we were showing you guys is kind of like what always happens.
Yeah.
Half of those people said, nope, I am not going along with that. I'll vote for your candidate. I'll vote for Troxel, but I'm not voting for, selling our sewer.
So even the loyal supporters said, no, you're not doing this. This is like,
beyond.
all right, this is the awakening. I'm not really sure that I don't like you that much, but I feel like you're doing something wrong right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to it and go with my conscience here.
But
So
27, almost 28,000 people had a say in this.
but the undervotes just couldn't find it because it was on the
It
back.
that definitely had played a factor into it.
On the back and then down the bottom.
On election day,
And
I
then
definitely heard people
sewer-
coming out and be like, I didn't even see the sewer thing on there. What? And they're like, it's on the back. So we were trying to tell people.
The sewer people definitely got feedback because I was a challenger on election day, as you were too, and I went from location to location, talked to a lot of people outside, and the sewer people were definitely getting feedback that they would come out and they'd say they would talk to a candidate, they would talk to a voter on the way in, and the voter would come back and say, I didn't see that thing on there,
Right.
and it was on the back. So that's the people that didn't vote for school board candidates
Yep,
also didn't vote for the sewer. So
Yeah, 'cause they're both on the flip side of the ballots.
yeah, when you think about it, what we say, there was 40,000. We were 40,000 short on school board
For the
right? 3 candidates. So yeah,
for the regional, 40,000 people. 6,000. It was 4,000 on the lower. I think it was lower board, like the local, and then there was 6,000 on the sewer.
So yeah, I bet a lot of people never flipped it over.
Yeah.
So and I don't believe I've had to flip it over before. That I think about it now. So,
I don't know if we ever had it on paper. That's part of the problem. I do know I've done mail-in for quite a while, and I remember the marijuana question in New Jersey, because I remember making the same post. Make sure you flip your ballot over to questions on the back, like the marijuana question.
We had the push button for the marijuana question.
Right. This is the first year I think they did the paper or reintroduced the paper back into the whole thing, and I know people are complaining about that.
We had paper last year in person. But if there was a back, I don't think I could. Maybe I was one of those guys that didn't do the back.
Yeah, it could have been.
But I don't remember anything. But here's a discrepancy that it blew my mind, and I was like, "What? You're not voting the way that you're not voting the way that best suits you." Because you voted that you didn't want to sell the sewer. This is old numbers on here, but you voted that you didn't want to sell the sewer, but then you voted for the person that did want to sell the sewer that represents you.
Right,
so,
the one that put it on the ballot in the first place. You're like, yes, put her back in there.
Yeah, so we didn't get that. We had the other candidate Tim here, who talked about not wanting to sell the sewer. So he would be probably, if that was that was the biggest issue of the year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely was the hot topic button issue.
And yeah, I don't know. I guess if you look at 2 candidates, you say that guy, he's right where I'm at on the biggest issue of the year, and then maybe other issues. I don't know if you listen to him talk. Maybe he kind of hit home on some of the other issues, but then you're like, but I'm a Democrat.
I know that the letter next to the name is
that sucks, man. That is
a thing in Gloucester Township.
I hate having partisan elections for this. I don't think that any party should be involved in this at all. I think it should be like school board. I think you should purely get.
Wait, who's the person that you want?
The best. No, that doesn't usually work for school board. We usually squeak one in here and there, but because there's so much money involved in the other ones. But I hate the fact that they're all lumped together in this partisan election like this. And
yeah. Well, it was big news that we had such a landslide, win. Where did we have that clip, Joe? We have the you have it ready there? Let's see if we can turn it. All right.
It's one thing if people want to take shots at council and sit outside and waste time on election day, sign, videotape, their First Amendment rights being taken away from them. What was the purpose of that?
Because it is our First Amendment rights.
I'm not speaking, Ms. Coy. I'm going to lecture you. And I'm going to lecture your friends. Okay? They can go out there and disseminate crap in the parking lot.
These red and white yard signs have been popping up in front of homes across Gloucester Township, encouraging voters not to approve the sale of the public sewer utility. This past summer, New Jersey American Water put in a bid to buy the sewage system for a whopping $143 million.
Yes vote will allow us to hit the reset button.
Council President Orlando Mercado tells us New Jersey American Water also offered an additional $90 million to improve the sewer system. He says their bid will help wipe out the township's $65 million debt.
Both sides are now campaigning hard ahead of Election Day.
Sit outside and waste time on election day, sign.
Yeah. $1 million.
We're coming right back.
some cooler temperatures. Leave it, go on to the next movie. We have to talk.
And I personally would like to know who do our elected and appointed officials answer to?
The residents.
How?
I'm not familiar with those issues, but certainly a matter that you should take up with the governing body of Gloucester Township.
So we need to go to the next level, and I'm asking who that is.
It's the elections that they have every year. That's the level. Thank you. Next question, please.
Oh, I cut it off. Yes, Dave, you're next. But yeah, that was a great clip of putting in there where Lou Capelli is out there telling you, how you handle it is at the ballot box. So
yeah, just get rid of it.
That literally is what it is. But great little compilation there where Mercado's telling you you're out there wasting your time on election day with a sign. Oh, really? Yeah, because those little signs whooped you. 22,000 to 5,000 ish or so.
Yeah, and what was it? Donation wise, like we got
so
tiny
there
bit
was
of donations, right?
Yeah, a little bit of donations. They spent over $1 million on it. There was a bunch of donations, which thank you to those who did donate. There was, we had some a little bit of money spent prior. A lot of help was given to us by the union, the local 500 Teamsters Union, which thank you very much. The MUA union reps there, they also came out on election day and were helping handing out literature. It couldn't have been done without the help of a lot of people locally here who spent a lot of time and effort and of their own money to try to help printing things and going out. And I know I spent hours with one individual walking and putting stuff in people's doors and getting the information out there. And she's gone out on her own without me and with other people. But it's funny, you're going out there and you're running into the New Jersey American Water kids that were hired, and they're like, no. Hey, what are you? Wait, did you hit this neighborhood? Because I thought I was doing it. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm doing this. You're doing it too. And they're like, oh, wow, what do you have? And I'm like, I have the opposite of what you have. They're no. So everybody's handing out, literature out there. But
great if you just been like, oh yeah, no, we're doing the same thing you're doing.
Yeah,
you guys go break.
Yeah, you guys go break. Yeah, no, we weren't gonna mess with them. They're just doing their job,
But 80%, man, over 80%.
Yeah, I mean that's an overwhelming number of people
and spoke. And so when people think that now going before the election, this was the thought was that.
I need to go back here.
Yeah. There
you
go. Going into this election, everybody was so pessimistic about this. They're going, look.
They're going to sell it anyway. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to win.
Matter.
They never lose. And then when it started to seem like, all right, this is really picking up, then it was like, all right, even if it does lose and you guys win, they're still going to sell it.
Yeah.
That's definitely a possibility. But look at 80. Look what happens when people get together.
Oh, yeah.
For the same thing, 80%.
Yeah. I mean, it's
small donations. And people went out, and we met a lot of new people that just put in work. There was new people that were out. They were handing stuff out on election day. There were people out that were driving signs around. Like people got together and they volunteered, and that's exactly what happens when you do something like that.
I mean, I can tell you, and this isn't because I don't like the mayor or anything like that, but I can't even begin to tell you how many people have such disdain for that man and for Mercado. They all know him and they all can't stand him. Yet they don't do anything about it, I guess, at election day because they still win, right? But maybe this here is the next thing that shows them like, hey, your vote did count. You did make a difference in going out there and showing them that, no, you're not going to stand for this. You're going to do exactly what Lou Capelli told Denise and said, take it to the ballot box, and you're going to show them we're not taking this anymore. You can hate them all you want. Don't tell me about it. Go tell the ballot box. That's what you need to go do.
Yeah, there's not an enormous loss, I think, to say, all right, we know what we've got here. We've got since for the last, well, some of them have been there for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
There's a pattern, right? There's a pattern in the way they spend, the way they save, the way they raise their taxes. There's that pattern. There's nothing wrong, I think, with putting somebody else in there for 4 years that says, hey, we're just going to change it. I just want to see what happens when we change it and try something different. So what? It's not like we have the greatest mayor that's ever been mayor.
Right, yeah.
And we're like, well, we can't lose that guy.
Yeah.
We can even come back after for 4 years and run again.
We can't lose him. Oh, my God. Who's going to run a street sweeper on election year? To go down the streets.
So that's I don't know. I've always just thought, like, I don't know. There's at some point, even if you don't know anything about a candidate, or that's even if you don't know too much, you go, well, that guy's been here for 4 terms, just and pick anything, 2 terms. I don't know. Let's just give somebody else a try, because we've all, I think, even like nationally, we've all kind of said there should be a limit. Some of these career people have been here for 40 years, right?
Term limits.
That's like unanimous pretty much throughout the country, that everybody says there should be limits.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's put somebody else in the seat, right?
Yep.
And try that out. It's not. I don't. It's not a huge risk.
No.
There's only so much you could do too, as mayor.
Right. At some point, it just becomes a job. If you're not changing things or trying to. Well, I guess there are ongoing changes you can make.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
you could definitely better the town. Now,
but at the same time, it's at some point it's like, all right, let somebody else come in here and do this. Do this job. But why does it have to be just my opinion of coming in here and doing something? I don't see. It shouldn't. It was never meant to be you're just going to be the guy that runs this town. You're not the king of
Yeah.
Let other people go through.
But
either way, whatever he's done, he's pissed off a lot of people. Whether it's, even just this in here, hey, listen, we're going to sell the sewer, but to get ourselves out of this debt that we created. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many people asked, like, well, how do we get into that debt? Even just today, there was somebody
right before the show.
Right before here saying, how do we get here? Like, watch our show. Subscribe to, actually, here you go. Subscribe to the podcast, folks. This is how you learn how they do this. It's over borrowing. It's overspending. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook. YouTube. Well, you're probably watching us on YouTube here, but we have a website. There's tons of articles. If you go to gtobserver.com, there's a ton of articles of information out there. None of this stuff is new. We've been talking about this for now a couple of years. I feel like we're opening up some eyes and helping get to the next level here. And in my opinion, the next level is like this here. Dave, you're next. We are done. These, the sale of the sewer was just like the last straw, I think, for so many people that it's got to be the next move. I mean, you have to start there, and I don't know.
And this was just somebody that came across the sewer deal before and was like, I'll create you a sign real quick to do it.
Right.
There's no content. There's no
website on it, right? It was
just on there yet, but it was it's like a demo that just some person that said, I believe in the cause, and yeah. So thank you for that.
It does feel good to get more people that are like actually helping and try to get there, because the 2 of us standing there talking in an echo chamber, or with the 3 or 4 or 5 other people that go to council meetings. It's nice to see other people like appreciating the effort that we put in, and then actually saying, hey, how can I raise their hand? Like, how can I help out? And how can I, join? And it's great turning the tides and saying, hey, look, let's all get together. Let's all show our power and, make things happen here. So there's also the website here for this, Dave is next. Hey, Dave, you're next. daveisnext.com is the name of the website address. You can go here to order a sign to help get the message out, just like we did with the sewer sale. The more people that see that sign and say Dave is next, I want to get in on that. I mean, again, I can't tell you how many people voiced that they can't stand that slimy little mayor, they would say. And you're like, I don't know how he's elected. And they're like, I don't either. well, I don't go vote because it doesn't even matter. And you're like, well, no, it does.
No, yeah,
it
just
does
prove
matter.
that.
We just proved that to you.
You know the cool thing about the site too is you can submit a design.
Oh yeah,
for a sign.
You don't like that design? Submit another one.
Go here. I know. I think I threw up like 3 of them on there. So yeah, go here, describe your sign, upload your sign, and then if you're
hit submit to it.
How cool is it though when you see your sign design around town,
look,
right?
We on all those newscasts there, you saw all these red and white signs have been popping up all over town. Someone designed that sign, right?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
There was another gentleman designed after we knew that it was a vote yes or vote no.
Chris,
It was vote
Chris
no.
Designed
so
too.
The guy Chris, designed the vote no sign because now we know that's the message we could tell people. Before it was like save our sewer because we didn't know how the slimy little mayor, according to these people, how that wording was going to come about. So we couldn't say vote no because it could have been no means yes, yes means no. But yeah, so that's pretty cool to see your sign on the news out there. But anyway, so that's pretty much the election recap here. I don't know how much more we have to say. I did kind of want to talk about election day shenanigans that went on. Did you want to? There was some
pretty good
we
stuff.
We should do that, yeah.
So
what kind of experiences did you have out there, Joe?
Well, it started off that I heard about the shenanigans that went on over at the rec center.
Oh yeah, that's a hot place over there.
I got the whole rundown over there
well, you were working during the daytime, right? So this was a little later in the day, or was this during the day?
No, I was on the road the whole day.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah, I was hitting polling places all day. But we got word that Dina
Piccolo was out giving problems during the daytime to some people.
Yeah, Piccolo saw that he saw that Dina had signs that might have been too close, or actually what it seemed like after I got the story from several other people was that there were sewer signs that were too close, and then possibly.
So the rule in New Jersey is you can't electioneering is with being within 100 feet of a polling location entrance. Yeah. So you have to be 100 feet out of that. Before election day, myself and Denise Coyne went out and we measured we have 19 polling locations. We went out and measured 100 feet from the door for every one of them. So it was marked. And it wasn't just like, if this is the door here, it was marked here, 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 and here, like a big radius. There was 4 spots marked out, so everyone knew where 100 feet is, because we've all been told, when we go to election, like, no, you guys are too close, you're too close. And then, some of those spots where they would tell you in the past, you go measure them now and they're 200 feet. You're like, wait a minute, how did we get, so we wanted to make sure that was all done. So this is what you're saying is that Dina's sign was outside of that. Yeah. She knew where those markings were, but she was still been given a hard time about it, right?
Yeah, so her sign was quite a bit of ways outside of it, but one of the sewer signs was, I guess, in that range. They felt. Okay, and so was someone from Food and Water Watch was there, and they said too close.
Right.
So because they're a machine, just figure that everybody else that's not the machine is the other machine.
Right.
So it's like, oh, so Dina's over there. She's not part of the machine. And then Food and Water Watch is over there. They must be.
They're together.
They know each other.
Right.
Right. But they're not there for the same reason. One's there to tell you not to vote to sell the sewer, and the other one's trying to get on school board.
Right.
They're completely separate, but they got grouped together, even though one of the Democrat machine teams were from what I gather, about 60 feet from the door.
Yep.
So yeah, this started, and Kevin Piccolo is he's the Democrat chair for Gloucester Township. He had a problem with it, called in the
bully,
the town bully, to come in and
the enforcer.
And enforce on the women that were too close and throw some intimidation out there. Yeah. And I guess they grabbed all of the signs in the area and took them and said, if you want them, you can pick them up at my house later. Which is creepy too. I don't know. That's a little weird too, but yeah. So that happened, and then later on that night, I happened to go over to Ariel Fire Hall, and I was talking to one of the folks there with had the no sewer sign, and I was just asking, how's the night been going? And there was a decent amount of traffic coming in, and she was talking to people, and I was just kind of hanging out, just watching the whole thing. And then somebody comes up with some palm cards, and I see them they're handing out, and they're right as the person is talking for the sewer thing to people. Mm-hmm. This person comes up and kind of weasels their way in and is like, "Oh, here, could you vote for these candidates, please?" And I'm looking at the names on there, and I'm getting ready to leave, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna get out of here. The bad guys have showed up." This guy got so mad.
Yeah,
this is what's wrong with politics. People can't. And I'm like, this is a joke, but I'm thinking, I was like, this must be some candidate's husband maybe handing out some stuff, and I'm like, this guy is really
mad.
He's mad, and he's cocky too. Like he's a cocky guy, and he's got, and then he starts asking me questions about the sewer stuff, and I'm like, look, all of these candidates, like you're the glossy flyer guy. You're the glossy flyers. You got the glossy handouts. Everybody else involved here, whether it's the local school board candidates or it's the sewer candidates, they've printed all this stuff out. There's like a network of us that have all just printed this stuff out on home printers, right?
Right.
There's no money involved here, and there's no motivation behind anything other than we just want good things to happen. And he just starts asking questions, and I go, well, I'm not really associated with like them. Yeah. I'm a challenger here right now. And I get the comment back like, oh, so you don't know. So it's really convenient that you don't know the answers to some of the hard questions. I'm like, this guy's a cocky dick, man. I don't. What is his problem? And then I'm thinking about the description of the guy that was bullying Tina,
bullying the women.
Dina. Yeah, about all the women over there. And I go, are you Kevin? Turns out it's Kevin. Kevin was back over there. I never got to meet Kevin, but I got to meet Kevin in person. And not a fan.
Okay.
Not a fan. Yeah. But he went on to tell us, I've never heard your podcast, and then tell us, I believe also told me that the podcast was too partisan and we're all too partisan. And I'm like, what there's no partisan anything. I've several people
and
have
I thought
said
you
that
didn't
now.
watch it. How do you? Yeah.
Several people have said it's too partisan. It's not partisan. It's just anti-machine. And I'm sorry, but the machine has corrupted the Democrat Party in Gloucester Township. So if it seems like we don't like the Democrats in Gloucester Township, it's because the machine has corrupted it. So that's not a partisan thing.
Not like Democrats. That's not the issue at all.
It's not.
I hate the machine. The machine really, happens to be.
There are candidates here. There are candidates here on the ballot that I know are that are registered Democrats, and I voted for them because they're good people.
Look, on the pre-show, we were both talking about Andy Kim.
Good resume, fought against the Murphy machine.
Yeah, look, it's not a part of it. I'm sorry you take offense that way, but that's not. It's not that we are anti-Democrat at all.
No, it's not, and it's but it's a great excuse. You heard Tom Cardis say that the only reason when he told the news, he told CBS that the only reason was because we didn't like the local Democrat.
We made it a partisan issue.
Yeah,
but we did not,
because we didn't like the Democrat council, and it has nothing to do with that.
Right.
It has to do with we don't like the people,
the things that you're doing,
that you're putting in there, and the influence that they have there. And we've said this before too. It's not necessarily the people that are up there elected in there. It's their trust in
the decisions
the people above them. So,
yeah, I didn't have too many. Well, I did have. I was screamed at. The rec center is a hot place. There's 4 districts that go to that one location, so it's a must cover kind of place, and they put out a lot of their strong support out to those districts where there's 2, 3, and 4 locations going to them. I had pulled up there and I hear, well, first I was called over there because I was told they're screaming at the women again. And I don't understand why they really like yelling at women. Mercado screams at what's her name, Denise Constantly,
Oh,
Dina. Like there's I don't know. There's definitely something with that. But anyway, I hear yelling, and I'm like, what is going on off in the distance? And I look over, and I see Kevin Piccolo's car parked out there. I see the mayor's one assistant, Andrea McPherson, within the distance handing stuff out, like, you know, clearly handing stuff out. And I hear screaming going on. I'm like, what is going on? So I better walk down over there. I see Kate Delaney's off in the distance, and there's somebody else that was helping us with sewer flyers. And I go down, and there's this little guy like yelling, and I don't recognize, who it is. I'm just like wondering what's going on. And here comes find out it's Tom Cardis. He turns, he has sunglasses on, and then he's like, you threw away $143 million. Yeah, you're out there. You don't know that their bills are going to go up. So I gave back. I'm like, you don't know that they're going to stay the same or not. And yes, I do. I'm like, how would you know that? How would you know that? I know. Oh, believe me, I know. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So we get to a little scream match, but he's over there, I mean, acting like an insane person. I'm like, this really means a lot to you, I guess, huh? We really messed up your thing over here, I guess.
Yeah.
But then it was, Kevin Piccolo got his wheel out. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was yelling at this girl Gina that was working, and kind of settled those two out. Pointed out that he's within the distance as well, because I marked all these different spots. And Piccolo's got his wheel, and he's walking from the door out to where Andrea is. And I hear him going like 85, 87. I'm like, there's no way, because I know 100 feet markers across the way. And he's like counting it out loud to like prove to someone else that she's within distance with his wheel. I'm like, oh really? We're that stupid, you think? I'm like, oh my God, what is it? I don't know. After everything was calmed down, I had left, and I went back again, and I saw, what's his name? Ray, Henry, and Tim. I think you were there too. Everybody was talking to Orlando when I pulled up, and I'm like, I'm not sitting here having a conversation. I'm just going somewhere else. So I left. But yeah, there wasn't too many that exciting things. There was a bunch of people, yelling about being too close, and you guys suck, and
a lot of people don't like that.
You ruined it and all that stuff. But at the end of the day,
a lot of people don't like to be bothered when they get out of their car.
Right, and I totally get that.
I welcome it, because I'm like, all right, give me your thing. It's either yeah, I got you, or all right, give me your spiel, and then I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong. But
yeah, well, look, I mean, things above. When you're showing up to the polls, I mean, and this election year was very busy. I mean, it was swamped busy in the morning, all day. It was crazy. But people are going out and they know what they're voting for. You're just trying to get them to get like the extra thing. Like there was so many people that didn't even know about the sewer, and you were able to sit there and spend 5 minutes talking to them about it, explaining, what it is. And they're like, oh, thank you. That's how you get an extra vote. But we didn't win the election day. We didn't win the election the week of the election. All this work was done way in advance. And this is where I was starting to say earlier about what I did learn was, you said the Republicans did a really bad job of getting word out about who their candidates are. I feel like they do that all the time. They wait if they think that the election day is the only day that the election ends, like in September. Like,
yeah,
if you're not in at that point in time, you might as well pack up and
they didn't
call
have
it quits.
Anybody out. They didn't have anybody out either.
Yeah, they didn't have anybody out at the polls.
Anything. So no wonder why people got confused and didn't vote for Tim. But it was nothing against Tim. They just I think most of them just showed up and they voted party line and then flipped it over and hit the sewer, if they flipped it over at all. Yeah. So it's a shame. One day we'll get there, I guess, where people go in there and they vote really good.
Let's get a cause going. Let's get Dave. We don't know who it's. Dave's next. That's all we know.
DavisNext.com.
Next.
We start out by signing up for DavisNext.com. Also, you mentioned election day was swamped. Those workers are always shorthanded. You can get paid. You can get paid.
To
go work, to check people in. It was like $200.
I think it's $300.
$300. Okay, yeah. So I thought it was $300. It's $300. It's like you probably make more than that at work, but Election day is kind of a cool experience. I take it off every year now, whether I'm running or not, because it's a cool experience to be a challenger, to go and work. And if you're somewhat technically minded too, it's a lot of they got some senior citizens there working the machines, and they get a little confused with some of it. If it'd be nice to have a someone with a little more computer knowledge too to handle the tablets.
You get to learn and see the process around it. It is
it's a cool process.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool process. I know people are always like, don't trust the the election. Go see it. I mean, you can see how secure it is and not have that fear. You can be part of the process and see like, oh yeah, there are things in place that this doesn't happen where I think that this happens or something like that.
There's a training program that they send the people to get trained on it ahead of time. You learn a lot. You learn a lot through that too. We talked with John from the Board of Elections.
Mm-hmm.
He taught us. I mean, he told us a ton of stuff. Like we were worried about like New Jersey votes getting counted, and he told us he compared us to how we do it with early voting and mail-in voting compared to Pennsylvania. It was cool to see that New Jersey has a better system. Like I said, they're still counting for Senate.
I don't know about New Jersey. Burlington County is a disaster, but Camden County, as far as where we were, it was good.
It's a good system. It's a good system we've got here, and you should just be a part of it. And if you don't want to be a part of it, being a challenger is kind of cool. You just go to different locations, check out the numbers. Make sure everybody's doing what they should be doing. That was a fantastic idea. Putting those lines out there ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to fight about it, and you didn't have to guess. Last year at C.W. Lewis, we had people that were like 200 feet away.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And the police, we had to go talk with Gloucester Township Police because they were telling people to move back. We're like, I'm like 200 feet away, and we finally measured it.
Yeah, it was like halfway up that walkway.
We were way up there, so it was a big difference. But have that stuff marked out ahead of time. But volunteers can help with that. And what do you say before? We have 40 districts, and we have like 2 volunteers at every district.
Yeah,
so it's at least 80 people right there that you need.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of the money was spent that we had as donations was spent on paying people to take off of work election day and come help hand out stuff at the polls to get those election day numbers, the last little push that we can. That was kind of the best use of the money at the time that we raised it. It was really kind of frustrating. Like we were raising money little by little, and it's like, that's awesome, but we're running out of signs, and people are like, well, I need more signs. Like, all right, well, by the time I order the signs now, they come in, the sign's not going to get us another vote. You know what I mean? Like, so great. Well, now can we advertise on a patch? No, we're like $1,000 short for that. Okay, well then we get, here, $200 donation came in this way, or $50 here, there's $20, and it adds up. We're like, all right, now we have just enough money to do nothing.
Yeah, so you pay.
Like, oh, awesome. All right, well, all right, if we do a little bit more, all right, well, if I pitch in, it was just like a battle where we're like, all right, we need to sit down and say, what are we doing with this money here? And it was spending it on election day in order to help get people at the polls, to make sure that they're handing out, the literature, paying for literature. It was the last minute push because it took so long to get to a point of the amount of money that we raised in order to do something with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can't, it's not like, all right, here's $300, let's go buy, 50 signs or whatever it is. Those signs are not cheap. People don't realize how expensive they are and then how long they take to print, and then the amount of time you have to go delivering them. And it was a lot of work.
Yeah. It's more than, if you don't have the time to spend out there, but you're like, you know what? Instead of standing in a parking lot all day, I want to help, but I don't want to stand in the parking lot all day. Throw $100 out there.
Yeah, pay somebody else to do it.
It'll help pay for signs. It'll help pay for somebody else to stand in that spot that you don't want to stand in. If you know a guy that does printing, that does signs.
Yeah.
It
was amazing too how many people I got soliciting business for signs. Like, hey, I see you with these signs. Like, I can help print you signs, and they're like, give me prices. I'm like, dude, that's double what I can get without you. Like, thanks for the help, pal.
Any little thing that you any talent that you have or if,
we can use it
monetary. It's a great way to get involved in causes like this. It's taught me a lot.
Yeah.
So,
but all right, well, that was pretty much the wrap up for that. We appreciate everyone's getting out and voting. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. I don't know why you haven't if you're watching this far into it, but hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on,
Share the show.
share it, make a comment down below. We would like to hear what you have to say. We get some funny comments from people, and it's good to hear that. Those comments help the interaction with the engagement with the channel, which helps serve it to other people in Gloucester Township. So
yeah, it is nice to hear like family and friends that don't live in Gloucester Township that are just on YouTube now that just see, they're like, I know that guy. Wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more interaction, the better YouTube helps us out.
Yep.
And we'll see you, I guess, in a week or so.
Yep. We'll see you guys soon.
See you, folks.
Take